Heaven is already within you. We could replace the word heaven with consciousness. As in heaven, so on earth. As in our state of consciousness, so does it manifest. So, heaven on earth is already here. And it's existing at a certain frequency that we can tune ourselves to. And realizing that on the level of your self-identity, on the level of your assumption, on the level of your self-image, that you are experiencing a certain version of you. And that certain version of you is living in a timeline of a certain parallel reality. And all parallel realities exist within the quantum field. So as we're able to align our consciousness with the state of creation, with the state of aligning ourselves with Source, we're able to step into the version of us that realizes that we're already living in heaven on earth. And furthermore, it already exists. It's already done. It's already created. So you're transferring to the world where you're the version of yourself living in that paradise, living in that abundance, living in that health, that love, that success, and that expansion. And that expansion is natural to us. So when we talk about vibration or raising our vibration, Abraham has a really good metaphor of a cork that when you pull it under the water, that's like when you're at a quote-unquote low vibration. And then as you start to let go of resistance, as you start to clear your consciousness, the cork naturally floats up to love and to unity and to joy and to bliss and satisfaction. The process of that is a process of becoming mindful of our state of consciousness and of tuning our vibration through daily practice and meditation. So as you get into that state of receptivity, as you're using the power of your imagination, you could say as an imagination, so on earth, that heaven is another way of talking about our connection to the source consciousness, is our talking about the subconscious and the imagination as God, as creator. And that as we align ourselves with our personal heaven, as we bless ourselves and align ourselves with that reality, we are also able to expand into our connection into the collective field and begin blessing on the behalf of others and blessing on behalf of the world, so that we can create the best possible world that we can imagine. And yet it starts within us. We each have heart's desires. We each have an inner magnetic compass that can point us towards the creating of our heaven on earth. So another way of looking at this is you're creating heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. As above, so below. As it is in heaven, so it is on earth. And another way of talking about that is the Father being the consciousness. The root of the word pater, which is father, comes from pattern. So there's a divine pattern that is planted within you that gets realized through the mother, through the earth. Mater, which is the root of the word mother, means matter. So the pattern in the matter bursts the seed of the divine consciousness, or the child of creation. And so, as Neville Goddard said, one of the greatest things that we can do is to create heaven on earth. I'm paraphrasing. And I wanted to quote from his book, The Creative Use of Imagination. The kingdom of heaven, with its many states, some lovely and some not so lovely, is within you. The state capable of wounding or healing, killing or making alive, is within you. And the way that I interpret that, so that by the end of this video it is crystal clear how you as a conscious creator can create your own heaven on earth, is that there's not two powers, there's one power. and that the illusion is that there's a secondary cause, that there's some other cause other than your own state of consciousness. So there's only one power. Then that power is consciousness, God, source, the universe, all it is, whatever you want to call that. There is one power, and it is consciousness. And that consciousness can create lovely things or can create not so lovely things. Or put it in base terms, good things or evil things. They are all psychological states, completely furnished and ready to externalize themselves in your world. So as you enter into the psychological state, it's already furnished with the cooperative components of that reality in its vibrational equivalent, and it's ready to externalize itself or bring itself or push itself out or attract itself into your personal world. And if entered a particular mansion or state, you do not care to remain there, you may leave it by the same technique it was entered, through the act of assumption. So being aware that your state of consciousness is the one and only cause of your reality. This is what it meant when it said, there are many mansions in my Father's kingdom. These are states of consciousness. And when you enter into them, I will go there and I will prepare a room for you and you will meet me there. The one who is saying I is the I am consciousness, the Father consciousness, the pattern consciousness, the creator consciousness. And what's encoded in that is that when you enter into the state, then the reality itself is already prepared for you. All of the components to its fulfillment are already there. So if you're in an unpleasant state, don't react to the circumstances. And if you catch yourself reacting, don't beat yourself up on it. Allow yourself to have your experience and realize that you're gleaning contrast to refine your point of attraction, to refine your alignment and the direction of your highest joy. So use it as information, use it as data. Start now to observe your reactions to life and do not allow yourself to become identified with any lovely state. So as you step into the witness awareness and you become aware of your reactions, you start to divest your energy, you start to invest your energy towards the creation. So here's an exercise, is that throughout your day, as you notice those old patterns coming up, as you notice those reactions coming up, bring your full present moment awareness to it. And what that's going to do is that's going to disarm the cyclical pattern of that vibration. That's going to that's recreating those patterns in your life. And you're going to reinvest your energy in that moment, go into the state of feeling at one with it, of being it, of feeling your desire already happened, feeling that it's already come true. Sacrifice your little hurts, your grievances, and believe in secondary causes. Then you will be blessed, for you will be pure in heart and see God. So this is also called the pearl of great price. This is giving up all of the other beliefs that are not in alignment with your assumption, that the one true power of creation is living within you. And as you're tuning yourself to that source, you're no longer blaming the external for the reasons, or saying that, look, what this is going on, you can reframe it and say, this is just an old story playing out, and you can invest your energy into the new story. You can direct your focus and say, this doesn't mean that I can't manifest what I want. This doesn't have any intrinsic meaning to it. This is an old pattern playing out. This means that I am successful. This means that everything is happening for me. This means that this is just a test along the way for me to apply the practical metaphysics and to see the demonstration of them in my life. And then each time we start to see these demonstrations, even for me the other day with my tire being popped and then going on a hike at sunrise, coming back, manifesting new tires, it turned out there was more work that needed to be done on the van. And then I manifested a car that I could rent, and one thing after another worked out and allowed me to take care of my bills and everything else. But as those things were coming up, it was like, was I going to react to it? Because I could feel those old emotions, of, okay, well, these things are coming, but reframing it, and I reframed it as this is a blessing in disguise. And what it did also is it let me put my focus, it inspired me to put my focus more on my purpose and more on my business and more on creating these. So it's also like you can take that energy and transmute it and put it into creation. Awake, test yourself and you will discover that the fault you see in others exists in you. Turn to self and you will find the Christ in you who is your hope of glory. So again, it's those things that we find unpleasant, that we fixate on others. This is the power of forgiveness, is to cleanse our consciousness of those distortions and of those holding patterns. Because those resentments, those are what keeps us from entering into the state of heaven, into the higher vibration where we realize that it's already here. When we start to observe the beauty of nature, we start to feel the flow of life force moving through us. We're tapped into infinite intelligence, receiving streams of consciousness that we can direct towards whatever it is that is our calling or choosing of fascination, of inspiration. And by doing that, we become as a child again. We become innocent, yet we are wise because we've gone through evolution and we have discernment. So now we have the clarity to put our focus on realizing that within our own reality, we have the power to create our own reality, and at the same time, we can flow our attention towards anything that we desire on the world stage, and we can use that same power of blessing on other people's lives. This is something that also Neville Goddard talks about in his lecture, The Seven Eyes of God, that there's a point when you reach the sixth eye, which I also feel is like the third eye, where you realize that you are one with the I Am, and that you have the power to create your own reality and create the conditions the way you want. And then there's an evolution into the seventh eye, which I also relate to the crown, where you realize that we are all one, and you start to use that energy in the highest joy to bless others and to bless the planet. And so I feel that this is also in the collective shift in consciousness, where we're realizing that by aligning ourselves with our best life and creating our own dream reality, we are from that place also, we are being of service, and we're able to focus more of our energy into what we're creating. And I know that it takes a bit of effort to apply these laws of mind, because I don't believe in a quick fix, like just chant this spell or this mantra and you'll manifest everything in like 5 minutes. I believe that it's actually like the real work is not just it's not a get rich, it's not a lottery win. It's an everyday, every single day practice of aligning our energy and developing our state of consciousness and being mindful of our state, and realizing that the abundance is also in our relationships with other people, with ourself, with the depths of our own sacred mystery, and with our personal development and our spiritual expansion and evolution and enlightenment or alignment in the moment, and that it's about the journey and having love for the journey. And that as we're able to forgive and we're able to let go of those grievances, and we realize that there is no secondary cause, we realize that there is no one at blame, and that it's something for us to shift in our own state of consciousness. It's easier to let other people and let other things off the hook, and to realize that if we want more respect, more love, to have our value appreciated more, it starts within our own state of self-worth, our own state of self-love. And from that place, we'll naturally take the action, we'll naturally be inspired, and we'll also have certain boundaries and have certain communications that allow everything to unfold, where you realize that the universe is supporting you in anchoring and creating your own personal heaven on earth. And then bigger than just that, you're becoming a channel for the pattern to express into the form. So now you're using your power of consciousness to create and to share your gifts with other people. And that's where that energy starts to go into your art, into your business, into your content, into whatever it is that you're creating, that is creating some value of service to others, that's also creating more, spreading the consciousness even more. And that's when we start to get into that flow state as a clear channel, as we realize that the more that we tune ourselves to that state, the more access that we have to the ideas and inspirations, and we're able to do the works of God. We're able to do the works of consciousness and realize that the universe wants this energy to come through. Like, you are supported in this process of also living a beautiful, magical, abundant life, and realizing that it's already here, it's already happening. So even as we start to shift into into this timeline, or into this reality where we are experiencing more and more of that beauty, is being able to appreciate what's already here, because we can also get closed off in our perception, and being able to expand that aperture to be able to receive more of the beauty, and to notice and have gratitude and have appreciation for the things in our life. And I know it's like, oh, gratitude again. Yeah, well, it works. So if it works, I'm not trying to tell you anything that you haven't already heard, because these principles work, and as we repeat them, we wire them in more. As we clear, as we let go, we make more space, and we're able to connect more with the feeling of that source, and with that energy and that aliveness, that vibrancy, that feeling of expansion, that feeling of internal happiness overflowing in us. And then we start to realize, and we start to attract that reality, where you realize that you are already in heaven on earth. That's what happens when you arrive there. It's already there. And you realize that it was always there all along, and everything was kind of leading up into realizing it, or awakening to it. And it's like, oh my God, wow. Like, you know? And so being able to also tune into our imagination, and to assume and connect to that version of yourself where you are living in your own heaven on earth. And a powerful practice for that is to sit and to breathe, and maybe put some meditation tones or binaural beats on, and go into your imagination and connect into what would it look like, what would it feel like to be living in heaven on earth. And allow your imagination to come alive, become childlike about it, become curious about it, and get into that feeling state. And then start to notice how that changes the synchronicities throughout your day, because it's going to align yourself with your highest timeline. So thank you guys for tuning so much into the channel. Make sure to hit the thumbs up, leave a comment what resonates, and any future ideas that you have for videos. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit that bell, because we're making videos very much, usually put them out on the regular, so to help you stay tuned into alignment. Peace and many blessings.